Radio play that song. Oh no, there it is.
Oh really?
Hi everybody, can you hear us now? So the issue is that what you don't want to do is yeah, exactly. What you don't want to do is run updates right before the show on the new. You don't want to do that. You want to leave it old until you're done and then test it.
Test it and then make it new again.
Right.
Ooh, hi, that's us.
Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the One Morning Show with Miss Nika.
Yes.
Welcome.
I'm glad you got that because I got you just messed up my whole intro. I didn't know.
What's the intro?
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
That's okay.
He said, "What's the intro?" I don't know, man. I think it was like, "Good morning, my name is Nika, and this is my boy Zay."
Oh, Zay! And now, rocking the mic. Rocking the mic. Rocking the mic.
Yeah, we're going to work on this. Start all over again. Reshare, redo.
Right,
just
no. Here we go.
Let's
start again. Let's start again. Ready? We'll be right back. Hold on.
I don't know what's going on.
Are you got? Okay, now it's moving again. All right, can you guys hear us now?
I don't know.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No sound.
No sound. How about now, guys? Because I'm seeing it.
What's
I shouldn't have updated nothing.
So mad.
So upset with myself. Oh, back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there's this great
the
olive oil
last
spot.
time?
Let's just talk about it. There's this great olive oil spot here on the east side. And Nika gave them an award yesterday, which was amazing.
Yes. And please go try it. San Antonio Gourmet Olive Oil on Hackberry, a block away from the station.
So yes. Oh my gosh. And you can go in there and there's taste tests. So you can take shots of
and like literally I felt like I had meals in my mouth, right? So when I had one and it tasted like the appetizer, the pizzas with the herb and the tomatoes.
Oh, like
and
the flatbread?
Yeah. It tasted like that.
Oh my gosh.
I did another one and it tastes like garlic bread. You know, the Tuscan tasted like a pasta. Because I could taste the tomatoes, I could taste the herbs, I could taste I was like,
wow.
Do you have a dessert? And that's when she was like, well, this balsamic peach is for salad. And I tasted and I was like, I'm good.
I'm done.
I'm full.
I'm full. Thank you very much for lunch. How much do I owe you? Is tip included? Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I'm telling you, man.
I am looking forward to going
Stephanie,
over there.
do hit him up, sweetie. I'm glad. Thanks for watching that video as well. But remember, tell them the one you saw it on the one. Miss Nika talked about you, and that's why you're there.
Yes.
And y'all come to the business awards because $25 at the door, $20 pre-sale. And I always tell folks, Sage, San Antonio Growth for the East Side does a lot of great things, right? So their whole purpose is to help businesses to be at their best.
Right.
So they do matching grants, storefront grants, so you can fix outside of your business and do some inside work as well. It's there for people who own their buildings. So of course they want people who've been there for years to be able to do this, use this grant, as well as encourage people to come in to the east side and start businesses. So I always tell my friends, we always say, well, the white folks are taking over, right? I'm real candid with stuff. That's what we say, right? But you can come too. I know a ton of people that have businesses on the north side, 2 locations, right? So this is an opportunity, like you said, to create another maybe destination spot or whatever the case may be, but you can get help. Because the storefront grant is not the only type of money that you can get. You can get a storefront grant. They can actually partner with you and give you money up to $100, $300, whatever $1,000. Nice. So where you're not using your income to build your business, and all you have to do is give them a small percentage back, and that's only when you're successful. Right. Like, it's good stuff. This is how rich folks stay rich. They use other people's money to do what they're trying to do. Right. And you just giving them a small percentage in return of what's happening. So it's just a really great opportunity. So if you own a business somewhere else and you see all the development happening on the east side, you don't have to be left out. Get your butt over here, get a meeting with Sage, see the different things that they offer, start driving around the east side and in the divisions in which they help, and find a location. There's buildings everywhere. There's land everywhere right now still on the east. So there's an opportunity for you too to get in on the things that Sage does.
I love it. And go get you some olive oil in the meantime.
Yes. August 30th, come to 125 Lamar Street, because that's where the event's going to be. It's indoors. Food, drinks are included with your ticket price. So you know how I am with free food and drinks. She's in there. Yeah. I think there's a really good radio station playing the music.
I wonder who that might be. All right. So make sure to take part in that. We've been giving our friend Paul some time to maybe get here.
But you don't think he's coming today. I don't think
he's coming today because I don't know. What can you say?
What can you say? Okay, so let's talk about what happened. Like, what happened?
Well, there's a whole lot that happened yesterday on the political front, and we've been trying really, really hard not to only to talk about the important things and not to really talk about the distractions too much, the tweets too much, and not to because a lot of times when you talk politics, it sucks the air out of the room. I mean, when Nico just goes, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like while you're talking about it, and doesn't really, that something's, it's sucking the air out of the room. So only when big things happen. And yesterday, two really kind of major things happened kind of at the same time. Things were happening at the same time. So when you have Paul Manafort used to be, for those that don't know and don't really follow politics, Paul Manafort was the Trump campaign chairperson, right? So he was the guy that was running the campaign at one point, right? And this was, I think, when he left, then Kellyanne Conway took over and finished it off, and she's the one credited with getting him elected, right? But Paul Manafort was the guy that was running the campaign, right? So in case you don't know, which I don't have no understanding how you wouldn't, but he's been on trial, and for the past few days, the jury has been deliberating on whether he's guilty or innocent, right? The thing is, they've been deliberating, for multiple days because it was 18 charges, right? And in 18 out of those 18 charges, each charge they had to figure out 4 different things in each one of those charges to see whether or not he was guilty and innocent of each charge, of that charge, right? So yesterday they came back with they found him guilty on 8 of the charges, right? And they were hung. It was a hung jury on another 10 of the charges. All right. So 8 of those charges, guilty. 10 of those charges, we don't know. We can't figure it out. We can't. Yeah. We can figure it out, but we can't come to an agreement because it has to be unanimous, right? Okay. So out of those 8 charges, I think the number was 200 years in prison or something like that.
Lots.
So now it's up to the government whether or not they want to pursue the other 10 charges and retry the other 10 charges again.
Right.
When he was given the guilty verdicts, according to all reports, he had no emotion on his face. He was just like, okay. He didn't seem worried. And some pundits, some political pundits, are positing that they feel it's because perhaps he's thinking that a pardon is right around the corner, right? Like once this is done, then the president will just pardon him and he'll be good. That's it, but you never know with this guy, right? You never know with this president. So maybe don't get too cocky just yet.
Right.
Anyway, so that was happening. At the same time that the verdict was coming in, Michael Cohen, which is the president's ex-personal lawyer / the people like to call him the fixer, right? Or Donald Trump's fixer, they like to call him. He surrendered himself to the FBI, and they took him right into court when he surrendered himself to the FBI because he had a plea deal, right? He made a deal. And he was going to plead guilty to 8 different charges. So 8 and 8 different charges in exchange for, I don't know, right? So at the same time the verdict was coming in Virginia, right? At the federal court in Virginia, at the New York Southern District Court,
he's turning
himself into the FBI. He walks up to, he goes into court, and he pleads guilty to 8 different counts. And in his statement, he said, for 2 of those confessions, so to speak, he said, I paid this much money to Stormy Daniels, and I also pay, and then he explained how, and then I paid this much money to that Playboy Playmate, and then he explained how. But the pivotal point, not just that, the pivotal point of all of this is that in those statements, he confessed that he did it at the behest and the direction of. He didn't name him, but he said at the behest and the direction of a candidate for federal office.
Right.
On both of those counts. So he basically implicated Donald Trump because who else, right?
Who else
has
that person?
interest? It certainly isn't going to be a guy running for Senate in, Rhode Island, right? It's not going to be any of that. It's not going to be the guy running for Oklahoma, Senate or representative.
Right.
It was, his client, but he didn't name him. He just said at the behest and the direction and the orders of a candidate for federal office. So obviously everybody just says that's Donald Trump. It's got to be. And those were two incredibly groundbreaking situations. Now, keep in mind, none of this has anything to do with Russia. So don't put Russia on this, right? All of this pretty much has to do with their personal banking frauds and money frauds and misreporting on their tax returns and all of that stuff. Plus, the main part of it, though, and the part that does kind of affect Donald Trump is they violated campaign finance laws, right? So there are laws in place that tell you not only how you can get your money when you're running for office, but what you can do with that money that people are donating to you. Plus, campaign financing, and it's tricky. There's rules in place that if you don't know what you're doing, you could end up in a lot of hot water. Right. So, but none of it has to do with Russia. So don't put that on there.
Stephanie says, so is any of this going to get this clown out of office?
I don't know. See, because there's a few things that kind of still have to happen, right? As far as I know. So some of this really shines some kind of light on the campaign, right? So the campaign, this is just another strike against how they ran their campaign. And again, these are people that are not political people, so to speak, that hired other political people, but still did what they wanted to do anyway, right? So a bunch of rich people who play by rich people rules, and those rich people rules kind of work in their world. But when you step into another world, those rules may or may not apply, or there might be some extra rules that are on you that you don't have any idea that they exist, right? Because that's not, if I'm privileged, then I can throw money at any kind of thing, and you walk into a situation where throwing money at a thing is illegal. It doesn't work or is illegal because it's kind of, it's run by and monitored by people that have money and people that don't have money. So the rules apply the same to all. You might get into some trouble, and that's where people are talking about how Trump Jr., kind of walked into some legal troubles, and it's all based on ignorance, right? Or at least a lot of it is based on ignorance. Same kind of situation where they're talking about trying to pin the Russia collusion on them by talking about the meeting at Trump Tower. They're saying, well, we just went in there to get some dirt on Hillary Clinton. Everybody does that. No, that's illegal, right? Well, especially it's illegal when it's coming from a foreign combative government, right? You can get that from
Jimmy.
You can get it from Jimmy, an ex-fiance or some scandalous whatever to do scandal if that's what you want to do. Jimmy from Mississippi or South Carolina or Arkansas where they used to be.
But you can't go to Russia.
But if it's there are laws in place that say you cannot get information for the purposes of the negativity or what have you from a foreign government.
Well, I thought, and I know I have read it because presidents aren't supposed to, and I don't want to say the exact thing because I know it's not exactly right, but it's basically speak on private entities or whatever, try to influence. What is that one?
Well, so that one is you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to use the power and the office of the president to
try to influence,
to sway or influence the public for or against a private organization. I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me with this. I don't know that that's an actual law, right? I just know that it's inappropriate, right? But propriety is out the window in this particular administration. It's just really about what works and what doesn't work for them, right? So then the other thing that has to happen is, even after all of this, let's say, for instance, somebody walks in and says, I put a meeting together on January such and such between this one and that one, and boom, Russia and Donald Trump in the room with the hookers and the weed, and I got video and tape of him asking me to do it, and we were on conference call with Putin, and I got all that on tape. Let's say all that happens. It didn't happen, and that's way too much, but right. Let's say something like that happened. It would still be up to Congress to bring charges,
right,
or to file anything against the president. So now, even if all that happened, Congress would have to be the one to go after the president. And then the question is, would they? Right? Because they haven't so far, because he'll sign anything that they give him. Right? So it's their way of being able to pass any law that they want to pass and do whatever it is that they want to do, no matter how buffoonish the office now seems to be. It's an automatic, like, hey, if 51 of us say that this is good, we can give it to the president and he'll sign it, and it doesn't matter.
That's right? What Stephanie just said, which he owns, shaking my head.
Right. Well, he doesn't own it.
Well,
they own him.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, do we want somebody in there that may actually weigh consequences? We just want to get money now, right? So, or we want our people to get money now. We want to be reelected now. Right. We want more money for our next campaign.
Well, the elections is coming in November.
In November, there's like 70,
and I will tell you, the Congress. I mean, everybody they got re-election seats all over the place. Senate, Congress, everybody, right? For voting.
It's the midterms.
So they kept on saying, this is one of those important elections, because this is the time where you switch what your Senate and everybody looks like, right? And which is what happened with Barack during his time as well, when they stopped saying, nope, you can't do none of this, we ain't passing nothing, right? We all remember that time. Now, this is that time again to switch the way it looks like. So we got some defense in there with what's happening in our White House, So it becomes an even more, the election gets more and more important by the day.
And if you're on the fence about whether or not you should vote, here's something that's also very interesting. There's a movement, a thought movement, so to speak, in this country right now, where the idea is that if this current administration is not checked, is left unchecked, right, he may not leave. Imagine that. Imagine that.
They did talk about that.
Imagine he gets reelected, or let's say not. Let's say the 2020 election rolls around and he is voted out. They're saying the people that think this way have a theory, because they feel that he is incredibly authoritarian leaning, right? So turning into those countries that we kind of laugh at when they have military parades and when they, want to have a space force. No, but authoritarian, right? So when he is in public anyway, we don't know what he does in private. I'm not in the man's cabinet. I'm not in his house. I don't know how he thinks truly or whatever. But in public, the perception is you're disrespecting you're dissing our friends, but then you're praising people like Kim Jong-un, authoritarian. Duterte, the president of the Philippines. Philippines?
I can't correct or
Philippines.
I can't say yes or deny.
Right. He's the president of the Philippines, also authoritarian. Like you don't like my political, I'm gonna kill you, like that. Vladimir Putin, of course, authoritarian, right? He loves these guys. The president of China. Right? Authoritarian. Yeah. So he loves these guys and praises them. But then somebody like, the Prime Minister of England, Prime Minister of Canada. Like you're fighting like the people, like the normal think, like, okay, like this is how the world, we're trying to run the world.
People that have been doing, that we've been working with forever.
Right. And people we've been working. So he's dissing them, but he's like loving the authoritarians, and he's kind of copying them in some ways, right? Only thing left in some weird twisted sense, according to these people, is that he's just going to put on a general suit. Like, you know, he's going to have a uniform.
I so could see him
right?
in one
That
too.
I could, right? So the idea is that if he gets, the way these people are thinking, if he gets elected, or he doesn't get elected, then he will just mobilize whatever he can in his base and then the military and then the Senate or whatever, and then just change the rules and not leave, right? Now, the opposite part
I'm like,
of
look,
that,
man,
right?
that's just not gonna work.
Well, it's not going to work, but it should drive you to go vote then for people who wouldn't do that, right? Because you still need the Senate, you still need the military, you still need. So if you go in there and vote for, you know, sane, stable people,
right,
to run this government, then something like that can't happen.
So yesterday there was a town hall meeting, and Barbara Hawkins, the gentleman that runs the ISI school district part, don't get me to lying, and Tommy Calvert, which I like Tommy Calvert a lot with the stuff that he does, because as a commissioner, a young 30-year-old African American in a position of that, you know, and in this situation, this man's actually freed slaves in his lifetime, and he's 30, you know, because he's been on the other side of the world where they still have slaves. And done a lot of things like that, and his dad works with affordable housing and stuff, so he's grown up in that atmosphere, you know, of affordable housing, and just like you said, understanding who we're putting in office and what they care about, right? And we all, I think housing is a big thing right now, and one of the things he was saying is, like, you know, that you notice he's the only person that stands for certain things, and if we don't back that person that says that mama who's been in the neighborhood for 70 something years should be able to remodel her home instead of giving all the money to developers to just change, to say, oh no, we're just gonna give it all to developers because developers can do it in less time. They got more money, they can do 10 houses at once, whatever case may be, instead of investing into the people in the community. But it's literally not happening because of the people who are in office and the way they think, right? What they want to see done. We want to see this area developed in a year, so we're going to go this route. Right. Or we don't care necessarily about the people in certain situations, so we're going to go this route. But one of the things that they talked about was how one of the ladies asked them a question. Do you think that you get voted in to do what we want you to do, or to do what you think is best for the people? Like, which one do you think, what are you going to do? And I was like, good question, you know, but again, you also have to look at the past record. They're in office, so you can see what they've done to see if that answer matches up to their actions, right? So all of them said the same thing, though. We're here to be your voice, but there's a lot of information that the public doesn't know. Right. So at that time, we've got to make the right assessment, but it's also our job to get that information that you don't know to you, so you know why we're making this decision. And I'm like, boom. And that's where I always kind of look people and say, hey, that's where you use me. You know, what I'm not going to know what to tell the people if you don't tell me. What is it that we need to know? What meetings are out there? What things need to be voted on? What's happening? So we know why you made that decision. But I just think that, you know, and everybody always says being present is so big, because even being at that meeting for that amount of time, I learned something. You know, it's like, oh, that's why they do this over here, or this is what's going on over here. And you figure out what's a little bit, you have a better understanding of what's happening. But I think that you're right, putting sane people in there, but again, knowing whether or not they even sane.
Yeah, you got to be engaged. Let's be honest. I mean, right now, Stephanie Vella just asked that question, right? So who are the sane and stable people? And they're laughing about it because, who's sane and stable when you run for office? It does take a little. It's a special kind of person that, you know, can reach the highest echelons of our government, right? And there are different. And it's true. I've read so many studies, man. And I've read papers from psychologists talking about every president, right? And one of the things that on the psychological level, somebody who becomes president needs to be
A little insane.
A little bit narcissistic, a little bit like in
totally
there are
agree.
levels of a little bit sociopathic, a
Yes.
little bit like, you know,
So,
you have to have little
Let's think about this though, and I'm telling you, I totally agree, because people always say, "Nika, you crazy, you insane," and I'm like, "Yeah, I started a business from nothing." Right. So business people have to be a little insane.
Right. Well,
right.
Yeah,
you have
but
to think.
when you get to certain levels of running,
There's
things,
levels of stuff, it's the same type of situation, right? Like when you say insane, oh my goodness, no, you got to be insane sometimes. Like you got to feel like you are the ish, or you're whatever you're doing is the right thing, or whatever, because you got to push past a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
still rise to the top. And,
Right.
and that's why they say you have to have thick skin and all this other stuff, because you can't give up just because one person done talked about you, or somebody don't like your idea, or whatever the case may be. I had this guy one time, or just the other day actually, they're starting a show here, right, on the TV side. And he said, so don't put podcast on there? I said, no, this is a TV show. Because you never know the future of your TV show. And we all know, which I learned, the way you start out helps the way you finish, right?
Sure.
So start out like you want to finish.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a podcast, you're a TV show currently available on the podcast site. You know?
Right.
Whatever the case be.
Absolutely.
I said, but have you ever heard me say the One Radio is an internet radio station? Y'all know y'all ain't never heard me say that out of my mouth. Other people might say it, but I always say, no, the One Radio.
Right.
You can find it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you don't know what the Lord might place the One Radio on this dial.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away the 8 years we worked through
Right.
to build a name, to build a this, to build a that, to have to change it because I didn't call it the One Internet something. Right?
Right. Well, there's also a sense of diminishment when it comes to that. There's nothing wrong with being an internet radio
No, there's
station.
nothing.
You know, an internet station. You just renamed it, right? Podcast. So
no, absolutely.
It's called a podcast.
So,
and
but
there are
but it
millionaires
was that
doing
have
podcasts every once a month, and these guys are millionaires. You know what I mean? So,
but that's the backwards. But it's the whole sense of like literally just seeing your whole vision successful. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't even started yet.
Right.
It's a little insanity.
There's
and
a little
all
insanity
of that
in
shit, all of that craziness.
Right.
So
but that's from what I'm saying, that's like the entry level.
It is. It
That's
is.
the entry
That's why I
level
just
to
say
what
I
some of these guys are
believe
doing.
it. That's why I say I believe it, because just in
So,
that you have to be crazy.
This weekend I was having a very cool conversation with this great lady. Her name is Karina. She actually lives in Miami. And she came to Texas to visit. She's a good friend of my wife's. And we met up with her and we're having lunch and we start having a conversation. She was like, when I was in business school, I had a professor that straight out told us, if you want to run a successful business, if you can open a business, but if you want to be successful, like uber successful, like Uber,
right?
Or like SpaceX or any of these guys,
ridiculous.
You have to leave your scruples at the door.
Yeah.
You have to be, you have to have all the things that we just been talking about. A little bit insane, a little bit crazy, a little bit whatever. But in the end, you also have to be cutthroat. You cannot worry about people. He said this.
Yeah.
She was like, this man sat there and told us that literally, basically, good people finish last. You will never reach those echelons of stuff if you if all your actions equal caring about people.
And
I was floored. I mean, they're teaching this to our kids.
Look.
They're teaching this to our kids, which means that it'll continue, right? They'll never break the cycle if you continue teaching this to the kids.
And you're right. And I've never heard that till not necessarily I've never heard that till right now, but I've never heard that till right now. And after August the 3rd, I completely agree. I completely agree with that woman. If you want to be big, if you want to be
big, you can't care about people. That's terrible.
And here's what I say about that, because the way she said it sounds harsh.
Yeah,
but I think about it the way you explained to me, right? Why to say, hey, If they support, they support.
Right,
if they
right,
don't,
right.
just keep
Right.
working.
No, it's a different
You
thing.
know what I'm saying? But it sounds harsh, but it really is that. You have to stop. Because to me, I be thinking, usually everything that keeps me, I'm trying to think about somebody else. Okay, well, I got to try to bring these people, or I got to try to do this for these people, or these people want it to look like this, or so I'm always trying to please. Meanwhile, when I need that help, I'm like, why am I sitting here all alone? But if I would have thought all alone in the first place and just went to the folks, not worried about whether that's my friend, or I need to hook them up, or I need to be there and keep a price for the people to afford so they can have the same opportunity. If I just stop worrying about all that.
And that's what's being taught. It's unfortunate, like I said, because I think that it doesn't have to be that way, but as long as that's taught that it is that way, then, and you keep funneling people into the industry or into the world with that in mind, then you'll never break the cycle. There'll never be reward for your sense of humanity. Right? There'll never be reward. So then if that paradigm exists, then, and now we know about it and we don't change that as a people, then we can never ask the question, well, how come all these jerks get rewarded all the time? How come you can fail up? How come you can be president of the United States
this is the problem
and
that I have.
be a racist?
Can I hug you right now?
What? Okay.
Let's pretend this is Zay. Because this is the problem that I have, right? Being a believer, believing in God, trying to do the right thing, trying to be, not cutthroat, not backstabbing, because that's the part that I have a problem with. Like you said, we have that conversation. So there's levels to not caring, right?
Yeah, of course.
So we're talking about the basic, like just take care of the people who can make things happen for you, not necessarily like be cutthroat, because that's what hurt. I don't want to be cutthroat. No. I don't want to have to step on somebody to get to where I want to get to.
That's what they're talking about.
And that's what they're talking about, right?
That's what they're talking about.
But the problem is that
can't own a sugar plantation without
but guess what?
Having a bunch of people.
It can't change unless. How does that change if we go back to the situation that we talked about before? If you don't have the support of the people. You either gonna get the support of the people or you got to cutthroat the people.
Right, but it seems as though cutthroating the people or having the support of the people isn't even a real choice, because if you
they're not even teaching that. They're just teaching cutthroat.
Right. So exactly. So cutthroating the people or getting the people's support, either one gets you the same result, it seems. Right. So if you cutthroat the people, you become rich. If you get the support of the people, you become rich. So if both of them equal the same thing, except for one of them costs you way less and you get to keep more of your money, then
why can't we teach get the support of the people? But here's my question: who is on top that got the support of the people and wasn't cutthroat?
Nobody.
Right. So maybe that's why they're cutthroat, because get the support of the people doesn't work because the people don't support to get you to that level.
Not necessarily. It also depends on which the right people are, right? So if you look at the tippy top, right? He's cutthroat and has the support of other cutthroat people, and he became president. But not by the popular vote. Here's the thing.
You got to have the support of some people, even if they're the cutthroat people too.
Right. Yeah, you got to have the support of some people. But look at that. He didn't even win the popular vote. He just won the right states. He mobilized the right states to make it happen. Right? But he didn't win the popular vote. And the same thing for the last Republican president before him. Also didn't win the popular vote. He just won the right votes, but it's still the support of some of those people.
It's support of somebody.
Look at companies, massive companies. Microsoft, right? Who recently just thwarted 4 different domains that were set up to influence the next election. Russian domains, but we ain't hearing about that, right? But they just thwarted, day before yesterday, they thwarted 4 different, not users, not email addresses, whole domains that were set up with multiple things and tentacles that were about to reach into America again. In order to try to thwart or try to fix or try to help or try to influence, really, the next election. Anyway, started by Billy Gates, right? Brother Billy, right? So the idea is that Bill Gates is a visionary and he created all this stuff and whatever, la la la. But do you know how many lawsuits this person, after, you know, billionaire status and all that stuff, how many lawsuits, how many people came out to say he stole this idea from me, he stole that idea from me. So not caring, being somewhat cutthroat to get to a place, right? Even Apple, Steve Jobs hit him because he was like, yo, you stole my idea of Windows, the basis of Microsoft stuff, right? Windows. Said that he stole that idea. He saw it, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take that, and then put it and created Windows. But Mac had Windows first, where it wasn't just typing stuff in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was a whole thing. He had to be cutthroat. He had all this whole team, and we're gonna go over here, and then in the end, he cut everybody else out to make sure that his idea, his vision, and himself were enriched. Now today he has a foundation. He's helping millions of people around the world. He and his wife, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and stuff. But in order to get there,
he had to do something.
Cutthroat. Talking about Steve Jobs, another massive company. How many people have come forth to say he was a jerk? This man was a terrible person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't care about me. He didn't care about you. He didn't care about anything except for his vision and the way he wanted to get things done. But he took a company and made it boom, boom.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody ever said Steve Jobs was a hell of a guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in the end,
man, my daddy used to tell me all the time, it's lonely at the top, Nick.
Yes,
it's lonely
Stephanie.
at the top.
Yes, Stephanie, the founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc.
Oh,
even
man.
though he did not found it.
Fool. Ooh, when I saw that movie, I was like, no, he didn't. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but he stole that man's wife too. I said, this fool take everybody's stuff.
He took what he wanted.
He took everybody's stuff. That woman came with too many good ideas. He was like, I'm gonna go ahead and take her too.
Now, look at it like this. You can see that movie two ways, right? You can see that movie as exactly what you just said. Like, oh my gosh, this man was cutthroat. This man cut out the people that invented
Whose last name is that?
And he took his last.
And they took
last name.
He took their last name.
Took their name, right?
You're not allowed to use this name on nothing except for when you sign your name. In school.
Yeah. That was crazy. And then in the end, they tried to start again because, you know, it's still their stuff and whatever, but it was on some old, like, Coming to America McDowell's. They got the Golden Arcs, we got the Golden Arches. Or the Golden Arch, vice versa. They, you know, they got the Big Mac, we got the Big Mick.
And that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there are going to be cutthroat movements. You see him as, okay, it just depends on the perspective too, because one person's going to be cutthroat and the other person's going to be like, no, that was an opportunity for me.
Hold on. So here's what I was getting at with people. You can see that movie in two different ways, right?
Yeah.
So some people can look at it and say, oh my gosh, what a cutthroat situation, what a horrible, you know, situation.
No, McDonald's that was cutthroat. He took their last name.
Hold on, right?
But buying the land was genius.
Here's the other thing, right? But that wasn't his idea either,
I know.
right?
That was
he
genius.
took that too.
Ooh.
So here's the situation. You could also look at that movie as an example, and I hate to say this, but you can look at it as an example. When he was doing it the right way,
got nowhere.
And being a nice guy,
got nowhere.
And doing his thing and just trying to sell milkshake
got
makers
nowhere.
and whatever, he got nowhere.
I'm telling you,
right? And as soon as he started cutting throats,
I'm just
he
saying,
became the king of burgers.
I'm just saying,
not to no pun intended with the Burger King.
This is what we just got to. This is what we saying, and I know you say that it can be done because we teach it. But I'm like, see now, if August 3rd would have never happened, I would have been that same one. There's hope, but I don't feel.
You have to react to your. This is the issue, right? For anybody that's doing anything new now, and I don't want to be the guy that trumpets the ignorance, that trumpets cutthroatism, because that's not cool.
Right,
you still got to give a crap, right?
No,
you still got to care about people.
Yeah.
But as business owners, current business owners, as people who are living on Earth right now,
currently,
right, we have to react to our environment. So if the environment can change, then we can react accordingly, right? But right now, in this world, the way things are set up, your reaction to what's happening is valid, right? Not saying that you're going to go out there and start cutting throats, and not saying, but there is something to be said for the paradigm of putting, you know, looking out for number one before, you know, like you said, oxygen mask, the mom has to put on the oxygen mask before she can help any of the kids. Anybody else, right? Yeah. So it's that same kind of concept. Unfortunately, that translates to the current business climate, to the current business world. Like as soon as people start cutting throats, and the Ray Kroc story, he was able to take that and push it and push it and push it. He was still a good businessman, right? But the major breakthroughs of what made him rich weren't his. And had he not started cutting throats, he would not have been able to take ownership of that and become and create a billion dollar company that McDonald's is today, right? But none of those elements were his. The burgers weren't his, right? The concept of fast, getting people their food fast, that wasn't his.
He took everybody's stuff.
That.
He was just brilliant at putting it all together.
And he was brilliant at putting it all together and being in the right place at the right time and saying, yep, I'll take that too. Yeah. And then the thing that really put McDonald's over the top, if you guys don't know or haven't seen the doc or haven't seen the movie about it or anything, the thing that really took him over the top was that there was a financier that came through, looked at his books, and said, the problem is you think you're in the burger business, but you're not in the burger business. You are actually in the real estate business. And he was like, what? So if you want control over the franchises, which now this is how franchises work now.
Own the land.
He set up the paradigm. You got to own the land that the franchises are on, lease to the current franchisees,
and boom.
And then if they don't follow your protocol, have no problem with kicking them off of your land.
Right.
So now, not only does McDonald's feeds 1% of the population of the planet.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
On a daily basis, they feed 1% of the population of the world. That's so crazy. Not only do they do that, but they are also one of the biggest real estate holding companies on the planet. And that's where the true power and money comes from. They own
Which is why we always say, own land, own your stuff,
They own the land. So imagine walking into a McDonald's and there are hundreds, just on the island of Manhattan, there are hundreds of McDonald's. Right? Manhattan is some of the most expensive real estate on the planet. Right? So imagine every time you pass a McDonald's, that's owned, that land, the rights, the everything from the rooter to the tutor is owned by McDonald's.
Yeah. That's
Forget
crazy.
the franchise part. Like, okay, the franchise
Forget
part.
The burger.
Forget the burger. They own the land. Look, they own that land. They own that land. They own that land. They own that land all over the world. It's bananas. Yeah. So when he started cutthroating, then he got that idea from that guy who told him, "Hey, this is the thing." Then he was able to rise.
And that's why I say, if you talk to the other folks, it'll be a cutthroat thing. If you talk to the person who got it, it was an opportunity. So, I I know certain things. A certain thing that just happened where someone called me and was like, "Well, hey, we've got this. We could use these people, but I got it." You could say it's cutthroat I didn't say it to keep anybody out. I just said I got it. So I got the opportunity to do whatever it was that was put in front of me. It wasn't like I put anybody else down. And I guess that's the thing. Do you have to pull somebody down to bring them up? Glow had said that when Bobby was in here, he said that, she was the best host in the land. And I was like, no, we's the best host. And I host too. I'm just not going to let you. We's the best host in the land, which we is, you know what I'm saying? But just the simple fact that,
there could be two
there
funks.
Could be two.
There could be two. There could be three funks. There could be four funks. That's fine. Everybody,
it don't matter.
There's plenty of things to host.
But the thing about it is just knowing that too. You can be cordial with business. I had someone call me and say, "Man, there's this company and they're using this other marketing or this other media outlet," and I told them that they have to use you. First, I was like, "I love you, boo. Thank you for giving them that kind of pump and endorsement or whatever." Right. We never have to take money out of other folks' hands. I can just offer them something as well.
Right.
But of course, I didn't know who she was talking about, so I was like, "Well, tell them to call me, see if I can help them." When I found out who she was talking about, I was like, Oh, that's my boo. We works together. There would even if she said, I'm gonna use you, which that was not the case at all. But just knowing who it was, I was like, together we're better. Right? It's not about dropping her and using me.
Exactly.
It's about using both of us and each of us tackling something different so we can bring a better thing to our client. Right? And so now she continues to use both of the media outlets because we were successful for her. So I get the whole take the opportunity, but I also know that there's a way for everybody also to share in that opportunity. So that's where that comes in. But I'm gonna tell you, if they gonna choose between the one and somebody else, I'm gonna give you every reason why you should choose the one.
Sure. And that somebody else should give every reason why you should choose them. And it's healthy competition, right? But competition is different when everything is above board. Competition is different when big football town, right? So it's different when there's two teams on the field and the better team wins. There's different thing when it's two teams on the field, but this one's got to deal with this one and this one's got to deal with that one, and then we're going to deflate the balls a little bit, and then it becomes unfair, and then it's like, whoa.
Right.
Why can't business be like sports? It's not. Because when some people see the field this big, say, okay, these are the rules and this is how we're going to function within the rules to make sure that our team is the best, there's always some bodies else who see the field a lot more broadly and say, well, it's not just what we play here, it's also how we interact with these people over here and make sure that they're on our side so that they can then influence the outcome of what happens on the field. That's when it gets shady, but that's where the big people play.
And look, and Stephanie Baylor said he might have stepped on the creators, but he also was the one that helped other families own their own franchises, which that is a case too. That might not have ever been in the pot, because his thing was that he wanted families to own their own businesses and that could be run, and the wife and the mom and everybody's in there running their business. Well, today, all of the McDonald's that are here on the east side is owned by the same African-American family. And that has been owned for the last 10, 15 years. So, wow, great. You know what I'm saying?
But let those people try to buy the land that their businesses are on. And let's see how altruistic McDonald's becomes.
There's some good things and bad things that come out of everything.
It's like anything, and it's another business strategy or whatever. So anyway, the point of the matter is, Paul didn't come by.
He ain't got nothing to say about what the president's doing right now.
I'm sure he does, and you know there's a lot of different points of view. But the truth of the matter is that's what happened yesterday, and that was the big news, and that's why we wanted to talk about
let's just see if he answers the phone if I called him.
No, leave him alone. He's probably working. He's probably grinding right now. You know, Paul's a grinder.
He is. He has his own business.
Making it happen for
him. It would
himself.
just sound funny. He'll just be like, "What y'all want?
What do you want from me?
You gonna call me today?"
Gonna call me today. Don't call him. Leave him alone. Wow, Nika is like really trying to.
I'm such an instigator. Because he's gonna happen.
She's instigated.
Look, he answered on the first ring.
Oh, he did?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I started to come by this morning, but I don't know if I got time.
He doesn't know if he has time. Well, you got 32 minutes.
What had happened was that when we started the show, we gave you a few minutes to get here before we called it the Paul Show, and then we figured you weren't going to come.
Yeah, he's busy. How you doing, Paul? Good morning.
Well, I can be there because y'all are on.
No.
Come through.
Look, no. How far away are you?
10 minutes.
Well, you should come anyway. I'm hungry.
I gotta be back somewhere here in about. I gotta be somewhere by 11 and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. But there was one little thing that I wanted. If y'all had time to.
Well, you could say on the phone. Say on the phone. Well, tell us on the phone.
Let's go to commercial first. Wait, yeah. So come through.
Come on.
Let's. We're gonna cut to commercial, and then maybe you'll be here by the time we get it.
We gonna cut to commercial.
Let's cut to commercial. Seriously. You know why? You know why I want to cut to commercial?
Because he got to go to the bathroom.
This never happens. Suddenly.
Pee-pee
time.
Life has a meaning. Go to me.
control right at your fingertips, along with expert home security consultation and award-winning service. Call 210-877-1222 or visit them at bsgtexas.com. That's bsgtexas.com. BSG, making home automation
The sound
simple.
wasn't happening when I switched over to the phone.
Tank's Pizza, located at 902 North New Braunfels Avenue, is the home of a modern interpretation on classic Italian dishes with the use of only the best and high-quality ingredients. You want pasta? They've got it. Calzones? They've got it. Wings? They've got it. And they even got salads for my healthy eaters with lunch specials and a lunch buffet, all for less than $10. And don't forget to wash it down with a glass of Kool-Aid. Their hours of service are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Be sure you call my people at 210-320-9224. That's 210-320-9224. Yes, they do deliver. Just call them. Tank's Pizza. All that's missing is you.
Boom, Tank's Pizza. All that is missing is you. Make sure to direct your pizza to Tank's Pizza. Nika left. She don't care. Man, listen.
Somebody gave me a taco.
Well, that's nice.
That's what I said.
That's very nice.
I was like,
anyway,
thanks, taco.
thank you, Taco.
And
All
of
right.
course, y'all know that we're going to be at Tank's Pizza September 9th. Hold on, it is. All right, don't forget that we're going to be at Tank's Pizza September 9th, and the Mandate will be hosting the first action, and we'll be out there giving giveaways and prizes and games and all kinds of good stuff, so definitely come out and hook us up with your presence.
I think we're going to need to go to a PSA real quick.
Okay.
Because we got to go get something. We'll be right back.
All right.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
If you smoked, this new lung cancer screening could save your life. Visit SaveByTheScan.org.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
And we're back.
And we're back
There we go.
again.
And we're back.
All right.
And we're back again. All right.
Beautiful.
So, you know what we didn't do? We didn't talk about weather today. So I just wanted to let everybody know it is a beautiful day in the Alamo City today. The current temperature is, I think, in the high 70s. I'm waiting for things to catch up over here. Please excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It takes a minute. I don't know why it takes
79
so long. There we
in San
go.
Antonio currently.
So the current,
77.
77.
Sorry,
According to the
my-
Weather Channel. That's fine. So
It's because it's in my hand and my phone is hot.
70. Ooh,
When
look
it's
at
touching
that!
me.
Look at that! 77 degrees currently in the Alamo City, right? And oh my gosh! So we're back in the triple digits. Not only in the triple digits, but we are looking at 102 degrees today under mostly sunny skies. Tonight there will be a low of again 77 degrees with a 20% chance of precipitation, and tomorrow the high. Look forward to it. another 102 degrees in the Alamo City.
I'm not, me and 102 degrees, we're not happy about that.
It's hot.
I be no bueno.
No bueno. All right. So 102 degrees. And what are we celebrating today? Which
tell
we
me.
didn't talk about
because we went right into it, but then we didn't. But then we did
like this,
and then we came back.
Right back. Well, today there are quite a few things that we're celebrating. As soon as that comes up, I will let you know. But there are quite a few things that we're celebrating today, including that gorgeous, adorable little girl right there on that picture.
Isn't she pretty?
Who's that? Is that little
That's
Nika?
Me.
Is that teeny weeny Nika? They can't see that. All right. Make sure to visit Tha1Radio's Facebook page, and you'll get to see teeny weeny Nika when teeny weeny Nika was teeny weeny. So cute. So
and bad.
Adorable. All right. So today is August 22nd, and we are celebrating National Bao Day. Bao is a Vietnamese dish. Is it like these little
puff thingies?
They're like it's a delicacy. It's kind of like a little.
Is it a dessert or some food in there?
No, there's food in there. There's food in there, not just desserts. Although it's like a little dumpling. Anyway, so National Bao Day. It is also National Never Been Better Day. Never been better. Bean as in bean.
Okay.
Yes, beans. So Never Been Better Day. The Never Been Better Day is bean like is in do you remember the dog from the baked beans commercials?
Oh yes.
Right. So it's basically to celebrate your love of your canine. Right? So celebrating the love of your dog. If you love your dog.
Okay, but it's not dog day.
They can't, it didn't say dog day.
They can't name the love of my dog never being better day.
Yeah.
That don't even make no sense, man.
Well, do you remember?
I remember, but it makes no sense.
Baked beans dog.
I do.
And he passed away, I think, also.
That's why we have a day.
Right. That's why we have a day.
Why we couldn't just name him the Bean Dog Day?
It is also National Tooth Fairy Day. All right, so if you got any kids at home with lost a tooth or whatever, today is National Tooth Fairy Day.
That's beautiful.
Which means that instead of a quarter,
they get
$1. I don't know. I don't know if that's what that means, but it's National Tooth Fairy Day.
Well,
and apparently this day is also celebrated on February 28th. So, like pick a day.
Pick a day, for
Tooth
real.
Fairy.
Pick a tooth, pick a day.
Pick a tooth,
check this
pick
out,
a
though.
day.
Did your daddy ever tie a string to your tooth and the door and close it to pull it?
My daddy never did nothing for me.
Sorry.
But birthed me. Well, she birthed me. He was eternal hugs.
When you
I don't need that. No, I'm
when
joking.
you forget the man's history.
No,
I'm just kidding.
fine.
I'm just kidding.
It's fine. But yeah, my mom on one occasion did do that. She did. She was like, "Well, let's try this out." I don't know this is how these white folks around here
My
do
dad did that, and I was like, "Daddy, I know you're not."
Right.
And
I do remember it not working. So then in the end, it was just like, well, no, I think it did work. But I was teeny weeny zay zay, and that was a thing. Anyway, so I lost a tooth. I got a quarter. Life was good. And then I got some penny candy with it. It was great. All right. And today it is also, which Nika don't care about this, but the rest of us who are sane and stable in this world, we do love it. It is National Pecan Torte Day. So you always got to have something to eat. Nika don't like nuts or pecans. She doesn't like nuts and food. It's okay. I'm all right with it. Pecan Torte Day today is National That. So go ahead, get yourself a big pecan torte, and then actually have some bao first, then have pecan torte for dessert while you hang out with your dog and pull your kids' teeth for Tooth Fairy Day. That's how you can be down with all of that. Wow. And as you can see, we have Paul that has just arrived who wants to have a conversation about what's going on. We got 21 minutes.
We've got 21 minutes.
Nika don't want... Nika don't want.
Look, man.
Nika don't want to make any of the other shows late.
Nika don't
Look at that.
want.
You over here wrecking shop.
I mean, he does that. while he's working on that, make sure you pick up the Observer.
Yes,
of course, you got all the great things on the back. Jazzed Up Friday is Friday, so bring your butt.
There is, because on the front of the Observer today is Aretha Franklin, right? I do have two quick, real fast Aretha stories, right? So yesterday, the Detroit Tigers. Mm-hmm. There you go. The Detroit Tigers were paying honor to Aretha Franklin before the show, and moment of silence and all that good stuff. And I will show you guys the picture. During the moment of silence, a huge. Let me show you. Was Madonna spoke about her tribute at the VMAs.
Oh, she talked about self-serving tribute.
Well, here's the thing, right? She's saying that she was never asked by MTV to pay tribute to Aretha Franklin. That was not supposed. She was asked to present the Video of the Year award, right? And if she had any kind of comments or remarks to say about Aretha Franklin,
to go ahead and
say something, but she wasn't asked to pay tribute to Aretha at all. So her whole thing was set up to set up the Video of the Year award. Her talking about how she came up, and then so she threw Aretha in there at the beginning of Franklin in a venue like an award show. Like that's something that where we do a show. That's what Aretha deserves, not like a couple of comments at an award show.
Right.
But she did it. She put Aretha's name in something that she was setting up for Video of the Year award, and she did end up giving the Video of the Year award to Camila Cabello for Havana. So that was not meant for that, and so she's getting a lot of backlash. But MTV never set anything up anyway.
Thing. So even if you were giving away the MTV award or Video of the Year award, why would you spend 7 minutes talking about yourself? Like in any situation, to give an award to somebody else.
Right. Well, because I don't know how the original speech was supposed to go. I guess they asked her real quick backstage, according to her.
Right.
Can you say something? And
so
then
so
she just kind of winged, like putting Aretha at the front and then saying at the end, but none of it would have been able to happen if it wasn't for somebody like Aretha doing her thing, which is what she said in her speech, right?
So take the Aretha from the front and the back out.
Right.
And now we just have a 7-minute speech about Madonna.
Well, I didn't listen to the speech completely.
However long.
But but they were just basically, because she talked about, I don't know, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But she talked about how she left Detroit to pursue this thing. I don't know if she...
But I'm still trying to figure out how her history has anything to do with the person who won the award that night.
I will research that. If you guys have seen the speech, then maybe this makes sense to you.
Take Aretha out and all that, fine. You still talked about yourself, and it was an award for someone else.
It was award for Video of the Year.
Yeah,
but Madonna has also won Video of the Year.
This is true.
I think
or maybe
a couple of times.
89.
No, not necessarily.
Nobody watches the VMAs anymore anyway. They say they've lost over 50% of their
that
viewership.
Was in the 2000s.
50% of their viewership.
What song was that?
That was a Madonna song. You got no Madonna. You ain't hardcore.
Right.
And that's okay.
And scene. Look. And scene.
Must be a New York thing.
I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Hey,
all right.
Did you bring notes in here, Paul? You didn't want to.
Can anybody see how my notes actually look? Can you see
them down? You didn't want Zay
They're on the back of a Grande Ford ticket and
a what?
A Grande Ford
ticket for my trucks.
Oh.
Do you know I was on a national talk show last night?
Sounded a little 1%.
A national talk show
last night.
Really?
I won't mention the name or anything, but it was pretty good. And you know what? They were impressed with me.
They were.
Yes.
Good.
I'm like, who is calling you over there?
I am popular.
Keep looking at my phone. I'm like, mine's dead. Wow. Who is over there?
That is see, so let me see. It's Kiko, Jimmy, Kiko. Leave me alone, Kiko.
That's hilarious. So
Ronnie,
okay.
Let me do my Madonna
Ricky,
imitation.
Mike.
Yes, I was on a talk show last night.
And
okay, let's promote your talk show thing.
Yes.
No. I'm just saying. But it was about what I was about to speak. And since it went over so well last night, I know it will be very hated on this forum.
Why would it be hated?
Oh my gosh! Why would it be hated?
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about what happened with the?
Don't. You better stop sneaking. Stop sneaking.
Hey.
Stop sneaking. I'm gonna bring in some goldfish tomorrow and just be on some. So y'all can't tell, right? Anyway. Go ahead. We got
just a little
12
bit of time.
minutes.
We're in a, yeah.
Nika said we got 12 minutes. I'm trying to expand the. She don't care.
Well, I know we've all heard of the Molly Tibbetts situation, right? You know who Molly Tibbetts is?
Yes, I know who Molly Tibbetts is.
Do you know who Molly Tibbetts is?
I don't know. Do I know who Molly Tibbetts is?
Young lady that
Molly
was murdered.
Tibbetts.
Go ahead.
Molly Tibbetts is a young lady from Iowa who went missing a few weeks ago, and it turns out yesterday that they found out yesterday evening, last night, whatever, that they found her body, and that another gentleman. I don't know if he confessed or if there's a manhunt right now.
No, he confessed
I was sleeping.
and led the authorities to the body.
Did you really just turn that back?
I don't remember doing that.
So he led authorities to the body, and what they're about to start talking about is that instead of. So she was murdered by an undocumented
illegal.
Right. People are not illegal, homie.
They
People
can't be
are not illegal.
If you rob a bank, you are a illegal bank robber.
No, you're not. You're just a bank robber.
Okay. Is she here?
You did something illegal, but you yourself as a person are not illegal.
Illegally,
then you are undocumented. You're doing something illegal, but you, as a human being, are not illegal. Calm down.
I think you're splitting.
I am not splitting nothing.
Okay,
I am not splitting nothing.
Let's jump into this here that I want to split.
Are you a full human being, or are you still 3/4?
Apparently, I'm an undocumented black person in most realms of the society.
Illegal?
But not illegal.
You're not illegal.
You know what? I haven't been called illegal. You have seen it. I've been called a lot worse. So,
are we okay? So, okay.
Well, if y'all let me get to it.
I'm waiting.
All right.
I'm just telling you who Molly Tibbetts is. I'm helping you out.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Be ready.
Well, this is the angle I wanted to take on this.
Okay.
So, and I'm gonna say this not about the people, but about the Democratic congressional body as a whole. This is gonna seem kind of weird.
Okay.
Seems to push for gun control, right? Even with legal people, they say, you know what, we got to control these guns. Why do they say that? Because even if one life, just one, is lost due to guns,
it's too many.
We got to make these laws better. But now, why is it when it comes to immigration, not only will they not reform immigration, they fight the reformation of immigration, but they won't even uphold the laws that are in place now, and it could have saved one life. So why is it one life is so important when it comes to guns? But when it comes to illegal, undocumented people in the United States, why is those lives not important? And this is not like this is in South Texas. It happened on the border. Yeah, they snuck across. This is in Iowa. You don't get to Iowa just by, taking a wrong turn.
That's true.
So why is it? And I'm not talking about the people. I think they did a study. Democratic voters, and I don't know if you knew this. Especially black Americans among Democratic voters have the highest request or the highest approval rating for immigration reform. We're at 65%, whereas Hispanics and whites are at about 57% as far as controlling undocumented, illegal, whatever you want to call it, immigration into the United States. But I'm asking somebody to tell me how is it that a life is so important when it comes to guns, even pushing it out of the hands of legal citizens. But when it comes to this, we have no reason. We don't want to change the law. That's just something that happens.
Okay, so I'm confused. So she got killed by someone who's an undocumented person.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So but what does that mean?
That means that if we'd have had better border enforcement, if we'd have had some form of a wall, not a physical wall,
he wouldn't have been here.
He wouldn't have been here. She couldn't have got killed. Like they say about a gun, if there was no gun, there could be no murder.
But we all know that him being documented or not has nothing to do with whether
it has
or
nothing
not,
to do with what?
Hurt, because people die every day.
Hold on
all
a
of our
put it with the gun control thing.
No.
People die every day.
No. I'm just saying all of the mass shootings And the things that happen by Americans. They don't happen like our school shootings or
my point was the gun.
All of that.
My point was the gun. The left says the gun is the problem, so we have to remove the gun. So if it works on that issue, why does it not work when it comes to undocumented aliens? Because if there was no undocumented aliens, even though it happens every day, it would not happen by them.
Well, who's mad about the undocumented person?
Apparently, most of the country, most of the voting population is at least, it averages out to about, I think they said 60%. Or that is their number one. There's two main issues in America right now. One of them is immigration. The other one is the economy. But again, I'm just asking a simple question. If it's all about the gun because the gun is the one that's doing the damage, why is it not about the illegal aliens if one person died? In other words, if one gun kills one person, that's too many. Why is it not if one undocumented worker kills one person, it's not too many?
Because I think that that people in general know that that's hogwash, because that's just stuff to try to get people riled up. I mean, obviously
so
it doesn't matter.
So is it that way on the gun side?
No, to me personally, don't get rid of your guns. That's me, right? Because I feel like every person should be able to protect themselves, family, and everything else. That's what I think.
Well, I said the Congress. Now, I said Democrats in Congress.
I also say that however the legal folks in coming in, there can be a way, because we are an America that is built of all types of folks. So there has got to be a way to get that under control of whatever needs to be. I'm not going too deep into that. That's just what I think. When I come down to hearing a story like this, I just say, because you can't say anything about somebody not from here killing somebody, because people from here kill people 18 times a day daily. So it doesn't matter whether you're from here or where you're not. You just didn't get your paperwork. Whatever, you're a criminal, period. Guns, I say people kill people. Guns don't, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm the person to argue that or not, because people kill people.
Well, I know you'll argue it. What's your take on it? Because I need to get your input on this, because I got one more thing I want to cover.
All right. It's a laudable question, right? It's a laudable question. Took two items and say, if one person's life saved is enough, why isn't it the same on the undocumented side or what have you? Okay. I think it's a false equivalency.
Why?
Because when you're looking at the gun, the gun issue, the gun debate, it has a lot more to do with just. I agree. There should be. I don't want to misspeak. There should be enforcement. There should be enforcement of the rules that are in place to make sure that things happen the right way, right? Mm-hmm. There should be enforcement of that. Should their guns be taken away? I don't believe so. No, I'm fully with Second Amendment rights, and I think, you should. It's your right to. It's my right to argue it just as much as it is your right to have it, right? And it's my right. If I don't want to have one, I don't have one. But you having one doesn't affect me unless you coming at me with it, right? In the end, have one. And I know a lot of gun owners that are just, other than having a gun, you would never know that, they're not walking around NRA and walking around. It's having these kind of arguments and posing questions like that sometimes is designed to be inflammatory. Right. It is not designed to actually pose the question and have civil kind of discourse as to how to move forward in a situation where 54 people died in 3 days in Chicago, all of them shot, and that has nothing to do with immigration, right? And everything to do with what are we doing to enforce the laws that we already have on the books, right? We start there. If some work, if some don't work, then we tweak.
And they don't argue about that 54 because, again, me and Paul was talking about that yesterday because he brought it up. 54 one weekend and 75 the weekend before.
Crazy,
but these are
okay. No, go ahead.
But again, like he says, it's not all over Chicago. It's in a particular area
right. But it's still.
But they're not. But still, the like the fight over this, like you said, that's just a distraction because of what just happened in
that's not
with
what we're
all
talking
the
about
indictments.
Right now, right?
And I'm like, I thought you was coming with the indictments and the stuff that the world is talking about right now.
But this is what
that's just
what
like
some people rather talk about than
the indictments of something that happened when it had nothing to do with Russia collusion. administration had nothing to do really with the campaign, other than they said the payments that were made to Stormy Daniels, and they're debating whether or not he knew about it, which legally is not illegal. So what are we talking about? So they've indicted 2 people to try to pressure them. Basically, the feds did to these 2 guys what they do to black drug dealers on the east side every day. They pressure you on one thing to get you to flip on something else.
Well, what it did was just show that he's a liar.
Okay, hold on a minute.
That's it.
And I'm going to repeat something that somebody said earlier.
No, to me, I'm going to say...
Hold on. Let's keep order, right?
He's a liar.
So let's finish your discussion.
Speaking of that, and this segues into that.
Okay. So then I was
ready to move.
Well, I hadn't finished, right?
Okay.
So, okay, go ahead.
All right, well, just the other thing, which goes into this whole emotional thing, because that was something else that I had a discussion about yesterday. So bottom line, the statue, North Carolina.
Okay.
Got together, hate the statue, pushed the statue down, kicked the statue, pissed on the statue, did whatever they did to the statue, okay? Everybody's like, that's good.
I don't think anybody peed on the statue.
Okay, well, I was just being inflammatory. Okay. Just being inflammatory. I've been watching too much CNN. Okay, so they did this. So my point was this. In this country, the rule of law is a necessary inconvenience. Because, it might have felt good. And the reason it's a necessary inconvenience is because the people in power often frame what is evil while they're in power. So right now, these statues are evil. They represent this. They're bad. So it seems to be a pass given when people gather together, mob up, and tear these things down. This is the problem with that. While that is an emotional, and the left tends to encourage emotional reactions to legal and constitutional problems. But when you do that, what happens when the script is flipped and whoever's in power at that time deems a church is bad, who deems Martin Luther King was a radical or a traitor, and then you've got people on the other side wanting to tear his statue down. You know what? The only thing that prevents that, because everybody has a right to think whatever they want, but the Constitution sets up what rights you have, and laws set up the way that the remedy comes forth if those rights are violated. So all I'm saying is, you got a right to hate that statue. You got a right to vote to get it moved down and all that. But when you start acting as a mob, you are doing the exact same thing that you call yourself fighting against.
Okay. I again believe it's a false equivalency, but
How?
yes, you are right. You are right on your so it's. Two things can be right at the same time, right?
So now I'm right twice. Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you that half of what you're saying is correct. Half of what you're saying I agree with. Half of what you're saying I agree with. We can, it's hard to rage against a thing and then turn into that thing, right?
Hold on. Can I just put my thing?
I.e. the mob.
When hunting monsters, be careful you do not yourself become one. For when you stare into the abyss,
I agree.
The abyss stares back into you.
Right.
Friedrich Nietzsche.
Right. So
I like that.
So indirectly, he just called the evil that these people are fighting, or the stuff that these people are fighting against, also the abyss, right? So what's happening? So you got in North Carolina, you got a situation where the mob went and tore down the statue of somebody,
some Confederate officer.
Confederate officer, which they voted for last year to remove. They did not, right? So, I'm sorry for the slowness of whatever. The people then rose up and said, we don't want this, we said, and went and took it down, right?
Hold on a minute. Not all the people said that, because I can guarantee there were some people that said, we want this thing to stay.
I agree.
So now what if they went out there with guns and said, now you're not taking it down?
But it's already been voted to be removed, and now you're slow playing it.
So at what point do you just say,
people
screw the
did
law,
go
we're
to
going
jail.
to do what we're going to do?
People did go to jail. Like, you can't say that the mob went and then there was no consequences.
But I do
there
not
were people
hear
that went to jail for destroying.
If somebody were to tear down a Martin Luther King statue, it'd be all over CNN the next day. You're not going to have that.
And it was all over CNN the day that they tore down the son of Sam, whatever the Sam statue was.
Equivalency of we approve. Wink, wink. That's what he was.
Well,
okay, so now you're reading into the reporting. You're reading into the reporting, which is a whole different thing. That seems to be the day and age
we're in now, because we read in everything else. We read in that Donald Trump is a racist. We read in that this whole thing is not helping Black America. The economy is not helping.
But you already know that as far as what station you watch. Like, I already know that if I'm watching the elections and I'm on Fox, it's going to say something completely different than another network is. Like, you already know that. So depending on what network you are on, what you're on, they're going to report it in maybe maybe I'm disgusted with, or whatever,
Yeah,
or
slant
and then you go on to Fox and they're gonna go the other way. I mean, like literally, when Barack was running Fox News, the other dude was winning the whole time. And then it was like, oh, Barack won. You know what I'm saying? The rhetoric behind it was completely different. So it's just a matter of what news station that you watch, whether or not it goes, because the people who are reporting are still human. And the reporters even spoke, what Zay was reading, remember they said that they were disgusted with the Sinclair situation, with stuff that they had to read that came in, and you have to read it no matter what. This is part of your job. And they were disgusted with those reports that they were reading. So as a human, you might be saying, oh, whoop, 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 and then you don't agree with it, so it's going to come off like that when you report it. Just like
then you're not a real reporter. You're a commentator.
That's the
at that
same
point.
thing, but no, that's the same thing that all of us. Again, we are human, so it doesn't matter who
no,
it is.
if you're a professional, that's what you're trained to do.
I'm
if
professional.
you give me a script and say,
I'm a
the white
professional.
supremacist voted for president
I'm
today,
a professional.
I've got to report that as a professional.
No, I'm a professional, and you're going to tell what I have more passion about than others.
Well, you're just not as good as me then.
No. Every professional in the game in front of television, you can tell if they are into it, they love it, or if they're just reporting it, because people are human regardless. And it's the way you say it, your voice, your excitement, the way you can tell whether people are into it or not, whether it's a story that they did themselves, or it's a story that was fed in. I don't care who it is. If you watch the news on a regular basis, you can tell. They all have their own personality in it, and everything else, from the weather guy to the everything else, which is why the one dude got in trouble for saying the N-word while on camera. Been in the business 22 years. He's very much professional, but got caught saying the wrong word. So at the end of the day, like, we are human. So you're going to report that stuff, and you have different people who endorse your station. So that's why Little Mama got fired from The View when she said, well, I think that America could have been involved in 9/11. I'm sorry. Those people pay for you to be on here. You are now exit left.
Okay. Just one or two more. I just can't, because she canceled my show last night, so she should be very fast. So this is so
how you get
the
to
other
stay on
thing
for
is,
4 extra
I think
minutes?
there is a disconnect between what people view as law based on what they want. I get the feeling that, especially in our community, people think that because everybody seems to be united on a certain subject, then it becomes law, or that's the way it should be. I think we lack the understanding, and we don't teach it in any school for anybody at the time, what this nation was founded on as far as constitutionally, and what law has to do with the Constitution. Because that Constitution dictates what laws are passed and enforced. And until you have a good understanding with those two relationships, there's no way that you're going to be able to reasonably understand why A happened and B happened. Perfect example, the racial thing, the white supremacists. Under the Constitution, those people you have a right to be racist in America. You don't have the right for your racism to affect somebody else. That's where the law comes in. So when racism becomes a verb, now we got a problem, and we have a remedy for that. But tearing down these statues, and just a little short thing, I asked my mom about this. My mom is 90 years old.
God bless her.
My mom came up when them statues still had the people running around them worshiping them that probably put some of them up. You know what my mom said about that statue? She said, son, I got far more important things to worry about than the statue that don't move. She said, the people that was running around that time, that's what I was worried about. See, that statue ain't gonna do nothing. She said, if anything, it reminds me of what I would never want to go back to. She said, but I wouldn't waste my breath on that statue. I asked my dad, he said the same thing. He 90. Now you could just say they're just old and senile, because if I said that, that's what y'all would call me. But but I think if anybody, people that age knew what was going on. They lived through the hard. My parents was born in late 20s, early 30s. They lived through the worst of it. So I think we've got to get more grounded into what's legal, illegal, what the remedies are for that, and get out of this emotional tie to, I don't like it, it's racist, it's got to go. It doesn't work like that.
Well, and I will say, we are the world of, if I don't agree with you, then you're wrong.
I can attest to that.
I don't agree, you're wrong. That's not what it is. And it'd be like, I don't know if I'm all the way wrong, especially if it just happened to me.
Do you agree and agree? Am I double right on this, or what's your take on this?
You ain't never double right.
You be half right, and then we be right. Yeah.
I would just like to add to what you're saying that there is a paradigm that we talk about all the time here, and that exists. However, people fail to see it on a normal basis, and that is that there is a massive disconnection between the idea of having a representative government and the knowing on a daily basis and holding fast to knowing that there is a representative government, right? So the laws that are passed weren't handed down from Jesus and then we all have to live by them, right? There were other men who created laws based on a current set of circumstances that you continue to perpetuate that same system throughout the ages, right? So as new laws are created, they're created by our representatives, other men who are supposed to be creating laws for our best interest, not the best interest of one or two people, right? But because one or two people, it's again going back to the same argument about money in politics. Nonetheless, we are the government who then create laws, right? Based on what we as the people want. Hence, voting for or not keeping a statue up or taking a statue down. Now, what it represents is a very emotional thing. The same way that the fire that was lit under these people to go and take that thing down in the first place was also a very emotional thing, right? It was voted down by people that were fueled by the emotion of getting rid of something that is also very emotional to some people, right? So it was voted down. The majority of the people wanted that thing gone. Now, the emotion of wanting to keep it there slow played the actual taking it down. A year later, it's still up. Now, if those people, let's say, wanted a statue of Martin Luther King taken down from the State House, rest assured, as soon as it was voted down, that thing will be gone that week, right? But a year later, this statue is still up. So the people took, I mean, not saying that they should have become a mob and should have done a thing, but maybe protesting in front of it, like, take this down, maybe would have had them, but not taking it down. Yeah, that was extra. That was certain, and that's where I agree with you. Like, don't become the mob that you so much hate.
And this is another question, and this is a question for you because it's hard for me to understand it. And you I think you gave an eloquent answer yesterday, and then maybe you can bounce off of him.
Always.
So
well, we read pizza. Eloquent answers always come after eating pizza.
What'd I tell you?
Born and raised in New York City.
Yes.
But this is
a reason.
Those statues have been up for what, 80 years? Some of them 120.
Yeah.
I can understand if you tell me during McGovern or during, even Bush's or some of the other Democratic leaders why the statues didn't come down then. But it seems like when President Obama, give him much respect, came into office, seems like that would have been the time everybody jumped on it. Like, you know what? That statue needs to come down. Those statues stayed up all 8 years. I don't remember hearing a lot. It might have been one or two, but I don't remember hearing a lot of back and forth about it. We changed administrations to one that people don't like, and this is where she jumped in at it. And now all of a sudden, the statue is the most evil thing in the world.
Not necessarily, but yeah, I can see what you're saying.
But I mean,
I can see the perception. I can see the perception.
So I'm just wondering what changed. I know what her view is, and I'm pretty sure she'll state it, but I wanted to see what you had to say about it, because something happened, and something happened because it wasn't important then and it's important now. So what is your feelings about that?
Can I honestly tell you that I believe, say what you will about them, I honestly believe it is the millennial.
Okay.
I honestly believe that the rise of the millennial, the rise in the sense of they are now coming of age, and they look at the world in a very different way. We're still somewhat attached to certain things, right? From when we were growing up. They look at the world a little bit different and a little more detached, and look at certain things and saying, that's not cool. And the same, I mean, I say that because there are so many movements that are happening right now that didn't happen with Gen Xers, that millennials and now Gen Zers coming up behind them supporting this, saying, yeah, that's effed up. We don't want that, right? So the Me Too movement, why now? Why suddenly do women want to rise up against the people that have been oppressing them? You can't, why say that, right? But it's the same thing. Like, why not? You've been getting harassed for decades. Why you suddenly want to be uppity? Because the rise of a certain demographic is now like, this ain't right, and we're brave enough to speak out. Maybe Gen Xers weren't ever really brave enough to speak out. We just wanted to get in, Maybe. I don't know. But there's certainly a correlation with the rise of millennials and all of these movements, from gun control, which has always kind of been a thing, but now even bigger. Look, Gen Zers coming up behind millennials are the ones that are leading rallies and protests and marches right now for, I don't want to go to school and get shot anymore. So that's happening.
Okay.
With the I know when I talk about guns, you start
it's not
to
even
feel
that,
some
though,
kind
but
of way.
I don't want to go to school and get shot. You got better chances of stepping in front of a bus, getting hit, than being shot in school. But that's a whole different thing.
But they don't know that. So that's the whole thing.
And where they hear this from? The media.
But they don't know that. And the thing about
Your
it
side
is
has media
most,
too, bro.
Yeah, but apparently nobody.
But most people, remember, most people are surface folks. So you might have kids in their phone all day, but they not looking at news headlines necessarily. They might be playing games or whatever. But what I'm saying is that the anxiety, the numbers came in for the school year, the anxiety is twice as high because of all of the school shootings that happened last year. So you can't deny the fact that the kids who are currently in schools are afraid that things will happen.
And in doing that, then they feel empowered, which is what our generation gave. Millennials are our kids, right? So we gave them the spoiledness, we gave them the devices, and we gave them the sense of entitlement and the sense of empowerment.
You went and told them, and nobody, this is what you say around them, don't nobody better say nothing about my kid. I whoop they butt. I don't care if my kid was wrong or whatever. I'll be the one to spank them, right? So then they feel like when they get in trouble at school, I'm gonna call my mama, like the parent didn't, the principal didn't already do that.
Okay. So we give them entitlement and empowerment. So with that entitlement and empowerment comes a world where, look, Asia, she's,
Ortega,
even though she's she's just denying what's happened, but a millennial hit at her over the past couple of days, you paid me off and you harassed me and whatever. So we're talking about a generation of people who aren't afraid to speak up, right? So I personally think that maybe that's why all of this protesting is currently happening. UNC, when they tore down that statue, it's all millennials that's doing it, right?
Let me stick with this millennial thing. Let me ask you this.
It's just my opinion.
No, that's what I asked for. And I appreciate it, because that's what I asked for. It was your opinion. I appreciate it. The thing that I was going to ask you to go along, don't stop doing that.
Laughing.
Stop.
I'm telling y'all got 2 minutes.
Okay. This is the thing. What did you say millennials feel now? Entitled and empowered.
Right.
Do you think that's leading to a rise in the popularity of socialism in that generation? Because entitlement would come with, I'm owed this, which also is a facet of socialism when it comes to everybody having access on the surface. It appears that everybody has access. It appears everybody is equal, when in reality, you still just, by socialism, what you do is you create two classes. You create a class that's got everything and a class that has nothing. In every society it's ever been done. And without them having the history of what went on, why we were developed, why, even though that those people were racist and they were slave owners, without them, this country wouldn't be what it is today. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just stating the fact. Without the Constitution coming together with slavery in it, it was not going to happen. There would not be a U.S. because half of the states said, unless we can keep slavery for right now, we're not doing this. And they came together and said, look, we're going to put the country together. We'll deal with slavery later. Not saying it's a good thing, I'm just telling you the history of it. So now we've got an entitled and empowered thing that thinks, hey, everybody should have everything. We should all live in $1 million houses. We should all drive Ferraris. We should all be equal. And that's going to be a problem, because that will never happen.
Is it happening now?
It'll never happen.
No, what I'm saying is you're talking about the creation of two classes, the haves and the have-nots. What kind of country do we live in right now?
There's a difference between whether or not it's based on the market or it's based on the government enforcing it upon you. So right now, even if you're a have-not, you can come up. If the government enforces or puts onto you socialism, you have no choice at your job, at your pay, at your house, at how many kids you have.
What's the
China
biggest socialist country right now? And you can't come up in China?
Look at it. There's two classes in
hold
China.
on. My question is, there's no poor people right now that didn't become like the steel baron of China. There's no people that were born poor that didn't become like the biggest realtor in China.
And you know why?
It's
because it's government connection. So tell me, now look
connection. It's who you know. I wonder what other countries
like
you
that.
can't get.
Okay, but this is one thing.
If you don't know somebody.
Hold on a minute. But they also have, if you have a girl, it's likely to be killed.
Not anymore.
That's what they tell you. That's what the world puts out. How long?
But
was
you
it like
know,
that?
you
Hold on a
know
minute.
though.
How long? Okay,
you know because you just came from China yesterday.
How long has it changed?
What?
How long ago did they stop?
It's been a few years because now there's a shortage of women.
Okay.
Now they have a short. Well,
Right.
a few years ago, I should say I'm not there either. A few years ago, I should say that it was
was the report.
announced that they reversed
Okay.
it. Like, wait, we ain't got no girls around here.
And before
Duh.
we compare China, why is it that when China gets ready to have somebody come over here, a lot of times China, Korea, all those type of countries, socialist, communist countries.
Those people.
Those countries. The people in those countries will hold somebody hostage in their family to make sure they don't try to leave that country. They send
Defect.
armed guards with them. You don't see nobody going with an armed guard to making sure American citizens ain't leaving here and not coming back. So there is a very distinct difference between the two countries.
Yeah, you know.
But you're saying that's socialism?
So I'm telling you that's the effect of socialism imposed upon a people.
Okay, so you're saying that a country where the people trying to get out, right? So people there are trying to leave, and they're forcing them to stay, right?
And you're saying they're better than us,
or
that we're on an equal footing with that,
Did
right?
I say that?
Yeah, you kind of did.
You haven't said nothing yet.
I haven't said anything. I'm asking you. Okay, go ahead. That you want to leave.
I'm about to eat my taco. And nobody's going to say anything because my show is over at 10. And I'm hungry.
This is the extended Nika remix. Now cold. This is where the extra artists come in and we get to
how many people are watching? 3 people are watching.
I'm just
3 people? Oh, Lord. I'm going to run all your views.
One of them is Nika. All right, guys. Put that down, girl. We ain't signed off yet.
See, I can get them off. I'm about to eat my tacos. See,
so the black and the right of it. When does it come on?
Tonight.
If she doesn't cancel me again.
Tonight.
Wow.
I had to do stuff. Tonight.
Black and the right of it. Make sure to tune in tonight on the One TV.
You know when you get that. I got that last night. Wow. Like I've been blocked. That's the block sound.
That's the block sound.
Jesus, help me. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Lord, for another great show. We appreciate you guys for watching. As always, we will see you guys tomorrow. Keep it sexy, keep it classy, and of course, keep it.
Just keep it.
Keep it clean.
And thanks for not blocking us.
Kissy face. We'll see you guys tomorrow.